What's up, fam? Hope you're doing fantastic out there. Today I have got a very special knife for you guys. So this is the latest creation from Dylan Mallory. This is the Mallory Designs Spectra prototype. So this knife will be releasing on April the 1st. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a second. Specs on the knife, you're looking at S35 and titanium. We are looking at a 3 1/4 inch cutting edge, 3 3/8 overall blade, and about a 7 1/2 inch overall length on the knife. Now this thing is lightweight. It is actually quite surprising with the weight of the knife. So coming in at 3 ounces. So we are under that 1-to-1 weight to blade ratio, which is phenomenal. So a little bit about this. So it will be as a pre-order on Mallory's website. That's MalloryDesignsLLC.com. This was originally going to be a Kickstarter. However, Kickstarter has decided that they don't like knives, apparently, and they've decided to block his attempts at doing a Kickstarter. He's also reached out for help from some other folks who have done successful Kickstarters in the past. Multiple successful Kickstarters, even folks that have them currently running. I can only assume that something has changed in their policies since those Kickstarters have started that is preventing him from doing this. So again, he has stepped back to punt, and he is going to do them as a pre-order from his website. And I know we all hate pre-orders, or there's a lot of folks that hate pre-orders. Personally, I don't care. I don't mind spending the money, forgetting about it, and then magically getting a knife over the time. It doesn't bother me one bit. Now, pricing on the knife, you are looking at $150 on day one. So April the 1st, this knife will be $150. After April the 1st, it will be $175. There is a limit of 200 on this pre-order. So after those 200 are sold, after 200 pre-orders have been done, that will be it. There will be no more of this knife. That is it. It is a limited run of 200 pieces. Now, during the time of the pre-order, as long as there are open slots, you can purchase 2 knives and get that early bird pricing. So if you put 2 of these knives in your shopping cart, both will be listed at $150, and you'll be able to purchase them together for the price of $300. So yeah. Anyway, a little bit of spiel. I'm going to kind of gush a little bit. So if you guys don't know Dylan Mallory, if you're watching this and you have no clue who I'm talking about, Dylan Mallory is an amazing human being. Make sure you check out his Instagram and everything down below. I have all his stuff linked. He's an amazing designer. He's got a great design sense. I love all of his designs. Extremely ergonomic knives. He's one of my top 5 knife designers, period. And he's just one of those guys where every time I pick up one of his knives, it fits my hand. It doesn't matter what it is. It just works. Much like this knife, it may not even be one that I think is going to work, but it does. It just does. And with everything going through this pre-order, he definitely needs and deserves our support on this. So if this is something where you guys sort of like the knife or even think you might like the knife, just pre-order it. Trust me, you're not going to be upset about this knife. I've carried it now for the last 3 days. It's not left my pockets, and I truly do love this knife. So let's go ahead and jump into the close-ups on the knife. We'll talk about some of the changes that are happening and then just go from there. So it is a blasted titanium frame lock. You do have a half-length backspacer, full titanium. You do have a little bit of an extension here. So what that does is it allows that blade-to-handle ratio to be almost perfect, having that backspacer kind of pop out. And what that also does is when you're holding the knife in a standard grip, it does give a little bit of extension to the back of the knife and helps it feel your hand just a little bit more. Coming around, taking a look at the pocket clip. So it is a branded pocket clip. That is the only branding on the knife. We do have a milled titanium clip there. T6 on the pocket clip, T8s everywhere else. So the pivot will be changing. I don't know if it's going to stay tooled on both sides, but currently in the prototype, it is not a captive pivot, but it will be a captive pivot in the production. So you don't have to worry about that. It will be captive. But I do not know if it's going to be if the show side is going to be blank or if it's going to be tooled like it is here. Blade hole opening there. Just a standard frame lock. You do have a single cutout that is chamfered nicely. It is slab-sided scales, but again, they are chamfered very nicely. It is perfectly centered. Lockup is fantastic. Here is your second change we'll talk about. So here on the cutouts, you can see they're not quite even. This was just simply a tooling mistake in the milling process. So that will be corrected on the production versions. And then the third change, final change on the knife here is the blade finish. So it will not be a satin like this. It will be a nice stone wash. But again, we do have this beautiful drop point S35VN blade. We got some nice belly here, this kind of signature blade shape from Mallory. Really nicely done here. I believe these knives are OEM'd by Artisan. If not, I will correct that on the screen. Now they are, you do have a really nice plunge grind here that does terminate fairly quickly. Gives you plenty of room for sharpening. Nice sharpening twirl there. Sharpening itself is done very well. It is nice and symmetric, and it is extremely sharp even for a prototype. Tip looks to be done well. Let's check that. And I do believe that is a, yep, perfect tip. So no complaints there at all. Everything is done well. Jimping on the knife is done well. It's very functional. The hole is done very nice. It gives you plenty of room to get in there for that reverse flick. You can go in with a slow roll with your thumb. Now, most people will probably be able to thumb flick this knife. I've done it once. I did it the day I unboxed the knife on video, on camera, of all things. I can do it. Let's see if I can thumb flick this thing. Yep, I can thumb flick it. But I have not been able to thumb flick it since. So I'm not even going to try here on camera again because this is like take 15 at this point. But you can, kind of roll over with your finger. That is kind of one of the few flaws that I have for the knife myself, as far as how I like to manipulate the knife. If this were just a little bit more pronounced, it would give me more leverage for that rollover. That is really my only critique for the knife in general. However, I personally would not change that. I think the way it looks is phenomenal, and changing that would change the looks kind of drastically. It works very well for the thumb, for just doing the standard front flipper thumb action. It works incredibly well. For me, and again, I emphasize the for me part, the rollover with my index finger isn't 100% reliable. Like right there, I went to go do it, and I was thinking about it, and sometimes I'll just skip over, and the jimping is very aggressive, so it does grind on your finger a little bit, but I really find myself not even reaching for the front flipper because the reverse flick on this knife is so money. You can really rocket this thing out there, and it has such a great sound when you do that. Let's listen to it. Like, it's just got that little twang to it. It doesn't happen every single time, but like right there, it's just got a little reverb to it. Very, very nicely done. Like I said, you can really rocket this blade out there. Now, it is a thinner blade. However, it's a skinnier blade. Skinnier, thinner, I don't know what you want to call it. Top to bottom, it is a thinner knife. However, he did not sacrifice and make this thin like his other knives, so like the Forest. It seems to be a thinner knife, although it's contoured, so it fits the hand more. Here, the knife in general, I believe, is thicker overall. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that, but it feels that way. When you put it in hand, it just works. It's a thinner profile overall, but because it's somewhat of a thicker blade, it fills the hand nicely. The pocket clip as well provides that extra little bit there in the palm of your hand, that full-length grip. And then the jimping there really locks you in. The actual grip of this knife is phenomenal. Pinch grip is really good as well. Allows you to get in, do those utility cuts without any problems. What's really impressive about this knife, though, is that weight. Being under or right at, I've weighed it a couple times. I either get 2.9 or 3 ounces. So being right at 3 ounces for over a 3-inch blade, it's very, very impressive. And what's even more impressive is, as we look in here, we'll see there is 0 internal milling in here. So he could even get that weight down less if he did some milling. However, the way it sits, because of that blade to handle ratio, right where your index finger lies, let me just get it here. So right where the back of your index finger lies when you're holding that grip is where this knife balances. So right where you're putting that finger is where that balance point is. So it feels so light in hand. It feels honestly even lighter than what the weight says. You know, it's just one of those impressive knives. Quite honestly, it reminds me a lot of the Tall Boy as far as how it feels in the hand, how it balances in the hand, and everything. So it kind of reminds me of that knife in general, and how it feels in hand, how it balances in hand, how it feels more substantial than it looks, and you know, everything like that. So really, really great design, and like I said, functionality wise, it's superb. The handle feel, I mean, I can squeeze the shit out of this thing and I don't get any kind of hot spots or anything like that. I mean, you can see there it imprinted the pocket clip into my hand and I didn't feel it. Like I couldn't feel that the pocket clip was there. It just felt like I was squeezing the knife because the pocket clip is so nicely rounded. Everything is done very well on the knife. Lock bar access is great. You know, we'll zoom in there and look at that. Like I said, you have those cutouts that are in there that's going to give you that access, and it looks even worse. Like it looks less than what it is, even though it still looks very good. When you stick your finger in there, I mean, you stick your thumb in there, and it works. You've got plenty of room. He left that ledge just sharp enough to grab your thumb and to allow you to push that lock bar over. So again, a wonderful design, great design cues from Dylan. So we'll go ahead and do some hardware checks here. Let's go ahead and check the only T6s. So that one's grabbing a hold of a screwdriver. And that one's doing the same thing. Go ahead and check all of our T8s. So everything else should be a T8. That's good. All these are grabbing a hold of the screwdriver. That one's got just the slightest bit of wiggle. So that's the first one that hasn't actually grabbed the screwdriver. That one's good. And they're all fantastic. So 0 issues with the hardware check here. Again, honestly, other than the one personal quarrel that I have with not being able to reliably do the finger roll there, which as you guys can see, I can still do it. It's just not a 100% thing. Like right there, I just rolled right off the top. Other than that, I wouldn't change anything on this knife. I absolutely love it. For the price tag, like I said, you guys get in on day one, pick this knife up for $150. You really, really can't go wrong there. And you know, being able to help out a good friend, I don't think anybody can deny that. I don't think I've ever met anyone that doesn't like Dylan. Anyone that actually knows him, I'm pretty sure everybody likes Dylan, and there's a reason for that. Again, he's an awesome man. Proud to call him a brother, and I really look forward to seeing what the future holds for him. I still need to find me a Forrest V1 to add to the collection, and that will be, I think that will complete me for all of the Mallory branded knives. So anyway, guys, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Please let me know in the comments down below what you think about the knife, whether or not you're planning on doing this pre-order. And if you're not, tell me why. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them down below as well. I'm sure Dylan will be in the comments answering questions and replying to comments. He always does. But anyway, guys, as always, please remember to be kind, be humble, and swipe right for Dylan. Take care, y'all.